Well, today's the big day. I am going to attempt to replace my spark plugs in my 1.3 liter Suzuki engine that's sitting inside our Metro. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs for the 4 cylinders, and I am starting out with this tune-up kit that is supposed to help ensure good contact between the electrical components, which is here. We have our 4 spark plugs from NGK, and we have replacement spark plug wires right here, and these are the wires right here. And we have the spark plug gap measurement tool, spark plug tool they call it, to remove the spark plugs. I hope this works properly. I just bought it. And of course the reference material. I got the I have the Haynes manual. I would ignore Chilton's. I found it far too difficult to understand. I thought it was missing information. Anyways, let's get started. Okay, I've removed the 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, it lifts up and leads down to one of the spark plugs. And this one here, I can lift out off of the spark plug. Okay, the spark plugs are now exposed. Unfortunately, in this video, I don't think we're going to be able to see them. They're seated rather far below the surface of the engine block. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, here are my spark plugs, and I'm certainly no expert. This is a new one. This is the new one, I should say. Now, these are the ones I just took out, and the gap is noticeably larger, just as the textbook said it would be. And this is after approximately 115,000 kilometers. Give you an idea as to how far down below the surface they were seated. This is the tool I used to take them out, and the surface of the engine block came to about here. So we're looking at substantial distance below the surface. So without a tool such as this, you are simply not going to get these spark plugs in and out, or out and in, I should really say. Okay, before you start, I've forgotten originally, remove at least your hot terminal, the wire to the hot terminal of your battery. I've removed both because obviously, as you can see, the terminals need to be cleaned, which I will be doing after I replace my spark plugs. Okay, at this stage I am applying the anti-seize compound to the threading of the spark plugs. Nothing very fancy here. I'm actually using a coffee filter. I didn't have a brush or anything. And I hope I'm not putting too much on, and we'll find out. It says to wipe off the excess after seating the spark plugs, but with the spark plugs so far below the surface, I'm not going to be wiping anything. So again, hopefully I haven't put too much on. Well, clearly I am new at this. I forgot to gap my spark plugs before gumming them all up with this anti-seize gunk. Anyways, I have my handy dandy gap checker. Now for the 1.3 liter, the 99 model of the Metro, the gap is supposed to be 1.039. Now, I don't know why, but this says 0.040. And I know I checked one, and sure enough, it was perfect. The guide slid through with just a little bit of resistance. I will check my other spark plugs, but I have a suspicion they will all be just right. Okay, well, I've gapped my spark plugs. There was only one that was a little gap was a little too wide. I would say there's a bit of a warning here. If you're using this particular gap checker to use to bend the terminal, or the metal over the terminal, bending it back is not really that easy. Bending it over to decrease your gap is one thing, but to increase the gap, I couldn't figure it out. It was not that easy, so be careful. Do not close the gap too much. Okay, I've coated the spark plug terminal with a bit of dielectric tune-up grease. Nothing terribly fancy. It says to apply a thin coat of this dielectric grease, which has now been, well, it's been, I just need to smooth it out now with my, that's right, coffee filter. Okay, it's time to put the spark plugs back in. Fortunately, with this particular tool, which appears to be working out rather well, the rubber washer inside holds the spark plug firmly enough that I can use this tool to place the spark plug in the hole and start turning. Remember, when you start screwing the spark plug in, do not apply any pressure. The weight of the tool and the weight of the spark plug itself are sufficient to start the threading. Okay, we got about, okay, there, grabs. We'll go about another quarter turn. At least that's what I'm trying. We shall see. Fortunately, that will work out. Okay, the deed is done. We can see my nice blue wire. I'm a little concerned about this though. It looks like they made the wire too long. The original wire was not that long and didn't have to bend like that. I'm a little concerned about that, but well, let's see whether it starts. Oh, sounds nice. Okay, well that's it, and best of luck. I would seriously recommend that you read at the very least, the Haynes manual. I would avoid the Chiltons. If you have the shop manual, even better, I suppose. I haven't seen it, but the Haynes definitely gave me some very good pointers, which I think I will go over a little later, because I know there's a couple of items that I missed. Okay, just a couple of words to finish off. According to the Haynes manual, these are your ignition coils, and they suggest removing the electrical connectors prior to starting. I did not. I'm not entirely sure why you would need to, because I did disconnect my battery terminals. And again, I'm not entirely sure why that would be necessary, but I did. And again, we can see the nice blue wire. I'm a little concerned about this. It's kinked up a little bit. It's a little long, but that was these are the coils supposedly for this machine. Anyways, the car starts. It sounds good. It doesn't sound as rough as it did prior to the spark plug change, so I think we have a successful job done. Good luck.